Welcome to the Score podcast.
Hot off the press in the Wall Street Journal is a story with the following headline: "The math for buying a home no longer works. These charts show you why." I can't show you the chart, but according to the article, before the Fed started raising rates, a person with a monthly housing budget of $2,000 could have bought a home valued at more than $400,000. Today, that same buyer would need to find a home valued at much less, $295,000. Have you checked home prices lately? They're sky high. With that in mind, there are a record number of renters. And the question is, do those rent payments get calculated as part of a consumer's credit score? I'm Jeff Richardson, host of the Score podcast. VantageScore, since its inception in 2007, has always incorporated rent payments into its models. But there are challenges in a limited number of consumers that have their rent payments actually reported to the three national credit reporting companies. Joining those that are trying to change that is Self Financial. And joining the podcast today is Kristian Lund, Senior Vice President for Rent and Bills Reporting at Self Financial, a leading fintech company that makes building credit accessible to U.S. consumers. Kristian is an IT executive with over 20 years of business, technology, and operations experience in both B2B and B2C companies. He's the co-founder of RentTrack, a pioneering rent reporting platform for property management companies that reports residents' rent payments to the three major credit bureaus. He also co-founded the company's consumer division, Level Credit, which works directly with consumers to report rent and utility payments to the bureaus. And in February 2022, RentTrack and Level Credit were acquired by credit building platform Self Financial, where Kristian joined to support the initiatives to expand credit access to those who need it most. Kristian, thanks for joining the podcast today.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm really excited to be here and chatting with you today.
Well, let's just start at the top. Give us kind of the elevator pitch for Self and what you do there.
Self, in its simplest form, we're a credit building platform, and we make products that make credit building accessible for people primarily with low or no credit. And we have a variety of products and services that we offer. Everything from what is called the traditional credit builder loan to a secured credit card that you could use your loan savings as part of to establish a secured credit card. And we also now do, as you stated, rental reporting as well as utility reporting. And that is the non-debt-based way that our platform allows residents to build their credit and credit history.
So let's double click on that and dig into the rent reporting a little deeper. So Self just announced that you've launched free rent reporting, I believe, across all three bureaus, which is a first. So tell us how it works and why you decided to launch the service.
Why we launched it, I think, is a really good thing to start with. So, we are living in a challenging economy right now, as your headline and overview pointed out. Consumers need affordable and easy access to tools that they can use to help establish their financial footing. And we wanted to ensure that we were part of addressing some of the aspects of that challenging economy. And launching free rent reporting was one of the ways we thought would be really beneficial to consumers. So it's a pretty simple process, really. All consumers need to do is they need to come to our platform. They need to connect their bank account and provide some basic information about who they are, et cetera. We take all the data, we verify and validate and go through a multi-step process to ensure that we can find and report payments. And then we take that verified data and re-report it to all three credit bureaus for free. This ultimately creates positive payment history, which, as you know, is 35% of what is used in calculating a credit score or thereabouts, based on the model, of course. And so this foundation of providing a significant contribution to someone's credit score and payment history is what the product does. And by doing it and offering it for free, we really wanted to ensure that we were helping those in the economy that need it the most. And that's really those that are at the bottom of the credit spectrum, no score and low score.
Well, adding their rent payments will no doubt help improve outcomes for them. But we are operating in a very challenging economic environment for consumers. We have a tool called Credit Gauge, We know that delinquencies are up for younger borrowers, lower income borrowers. But can you speak to some of the other financial challenges that consumers are facing right now?
Yeah, absolutely. And we keep really close tabs on this in terms of what challenges are being faced. We recently did a survey of our consumers. And in that survey, we found out about 65% are feeling more financial pressure this year than last year. And what does more financial pressure mean? Well, in the case of our survey, we got some interesting data elements back, and this is really supported by what we're seeing in the market in general. So in one case here, about half of the respondents said that they had to dip into their savings or emergency funds to pay their rent. That's a pretty scary predicament to be in if you are needing to use your savings or your emergency monies that you have set aside to pay for basic things like your food security or housing security. So paying for food or rent and needing to dip into that is certainly a challenge that a lot of this country is facing. And in this economy, every dollar counts. These types of setbacks where you have to dip into that can really have an impact to you. It means you're going to have to make trade-offs. And trade-offs could mean, hey, if I'm paying for rent this month, what am I not paying for? Am I not paying for, my utilities? Am I not paying for my cell? Am I not paying for, I'm making minimum payments on a credit card? Things that can really impact one's overall financial and credit profile, are being challenged right now. And, at the end of the day, when inflation's a little high, it's about, if it's been up pretty consistently for the last couple of quarters, and that has a real impact on those, especially in the low to moderate income space. And so we really, are looking to figure out like how we can address that, or at least help those that are really facing these financial challenges.
Well, that's it. And so it's sort of adding insult to injury when a consumer has to dip into savings to pay rent, and that rent doesn't even get reported. So when you talk to consumers and other stakeholders about the benefits of rent reporting, what do you tell them?
On the consumer side, it's a really simple message. I mean, simple to convey. Of course, you have to ensure that they understand it. First of all, when you build credit with rent payments, one key thing to understand is you're building credit without taking on debt, right? If you look at the traditional forms of credit today, you've got your installment loans, your revolving, which is your credit cards, home and auto. And those are all traditional debt-based ways that people have built their credit history with and credit profile. And of course, in order to qualify for any of those, you need to have credit. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword, if you will. Whereas rent really changes that paradigm. And so when we talk about rent, we really focus on the fact that you're able to do it without taking on debt, right? So it's really the beauty of this project is it can open the door to credit without having to take on the debt that you traditionally would.
And build credit as a result. And that's something that on the Score podcast, we discuss quite a bit. And I think listeners are probably coming to the conclusion that the credit building space is getting more competitive. And that's a good thing. That's market forces solving, social problems. And that's a good thing. So given that it's sort of an increasingly competitive space, how is self-differentiating itself from the competitors?
I want to just highlight your point. And I do think having more innovation and players in the credit building space is a net good. The more ideas you're bringing, as long as they're, doing it in a way that is benefiting consumers, I think that is a net good. And so I really have appreciated seeing all of the innovation and credit building with financial technology companies over the last couple of years. Certainly, I put self and ourselves in that space, both because we have been credit building since 2015. So we've been really committed to building out a platform that is scalable via our technology and our overall national reach that really is used to be able to extend to almost any American, of course, right? And so we really differentiated the fact that when you do something for as long as we have, we've built out all of the foundational pillars, if you will, that can continue to scale as more and more people are in pursuit of credit building. That's certainly one way we do it. The second way, of course, is we offered this free rent reporting option for consumers as a way to continue to differentiate in the space. We've heavily invested into that over the last 10 years. As you noted, I co-founded rent reporting, on an enterprise level about a decade ago. And going into the consumer space, has taken a lot of work. And so we've really focused on that. And so now we're able to differentiate because we can be the only consumer company that reports rent to all three bureaus for free. And what does that mean? It means that, consumers can come to our platform. We can go through a rigorous verification and validation process of who they are and what their information is. And then we can report that data for them so that ultimately that shows up on their credit report, is used in lending profiles. And when you look at the broader, use of how that data can be used, now lenders can, and others who look at this data can take that into account when they're making their, lending or other decisions, because obviously credit is really used everywhere. A lot of people don't appreciate that sometimes, but it's used much more beyond like lending decisions. But that's how we really look to differentiate.
And something tells me you're not done. So what's coming down the pipeline? What's next?
A couple things that, I can share certainly is, to your point, credit building is ever evolving, right? And so it's an exciting space to be in, and we're in an exciting time to be in it. And so we are definitely in the midst of evolving and creating some new products that we're bringing to the market. We've recently announced a new CEO in October who joined our company, Julie Serzdarak. She has a lot of experience leading companies like ourselves. We are a highly regulated and mission-driven companies. So we're really going to continue to expand our credit building toolkit to offer some additional ways that consumers can have to build credit and bring it more accessibly to the market overall. So we're certainly not done. Think of this as just another stop in the journey of our credit building train.
And so where can potential partners, consumers, lenders find out more about Self?
We are easily accessible online at www.self.inc, and consumers can go right to that site and enroll in any of our credit building products. You can find us wherever you download your phone apps in the App Store. So Self Financial, easy to install, easy to get set up.
Awesome. Kristian, thank you so much for your time today. And really, congratulations on the launch.
Thank you, Jeff. And I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today.
As I mentioned in the intro, when rent payments are used to establish a new credit file, VantageScore models will use them to generate a credit score straight away. We're not going to wait 6 months like conventional credit scoring models might. Adding these payments to an established credit file could add up to 150 points to a consumer's credit score. So this is a big deal. The wide availability of this data has eluded us, but thanks to innovative fintechs like Self Financial, that is changing. I'm Jeff Richardson, and I look forward to our next conversation.
The views and opinions expressed in this episode do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of VantageScore Solutions. Visit VantageScore.com to learn more.